Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Huddle, my new show. And today we start the new episode, the journey. And today I with Chandra Webb. How are you, Chandra?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good, very fine. For those who don't know who you are a Richmond Webb wife. So you're the lady beyond this man, and I'm pretty sure you have a big part on anything he achieved during his life because I'm sure you was always behind him saying, "Hey, do better, improve."
Improve. Yeah, pretty good.
So the purpose on this show is to share stories around football. The journey has the name of the episode, and today we will try to develop the stories with a woman's wife player because we never talk about that, and I'm pretty sure there is a lot of thing to share. So are you ready for your first show with France and Paris?
Yes, I am.
So let's go. And I start with the first question. How do you handle the sacrifice Richmond Webb made for his career?
Well, I think the first sacrifices that he had to make was like when you're growing up, you have to set aside that time, that commitment to the thing that you want to do, right? So he really
Yeah,
liked basketball and he liked football. But he ended up putting the time in for football. And so I was just kind of thinking about it. I was like, when you're young, your friends are out doing other things that they want to do, having fun and stuff. And you really have to control your mind to say, well, no, this is what I want to do. And then Richmond is also the type of person that if he gives you his word, he does it. So his coach, if he told his coach he'd be at practice, that's where he was going to be.
yeah,
So, yeah. So I think the sacrifices once he got to the league, of course, was like, I always looked at it like a job, right? So
yeah.
he just went to work every day, and did these. He did very well at what he did, but um, he took it seriously, by watching what he ate and just making sure he did things that he's supposed to do. So really just kind of putting the time in to make sure that whatever dream you have as a young person, you continue to do those things to make sure that when you get to the dream, you don't mess the dream up.
Yeah. Of course. And between football and basketball, you maybe have a preference before before you select. Maybe you was a basketball fan first of football.
I think we talked about it. He said he really liked basketball growing up, but he was more suitable for football.
But in a wife perspective, maybe you prefer you play football basketball because you don't get so much earth on the field in a basketball.
Oh, I am going to have to say, I'm gonna be honest with you. I
Yes,
only
please.
started watching I only started watching basketball when our daughter started playing it.
Okay.
Probably was 5 or 6 years. Oh no, like yeah, about 6 years ago. I think she was in high school. And so I didn't understand nothing about basketball, but football, I grew up watching the football here in Houston with the Oilers and the Steelers. And so I know way more about football than I
Yeah.
do about basketball.
Okay. So you was fine when you pick football.
I'm cool. Yeah.
And how do you find balance between football and family life? Because this is something that is interesting in your perspective. How do you find balance?
I think we found balance by, like I said, I always considered football a job. That was his work, right? So he had to go to
Yeah.
work. So he was off on Tuesdays. And then the rest of the time, he just went to work normal, right? Come home. So I guess, like in the roles that husbands and wives, especially a wife that stays at home, you kind of, make sure the kids and the things of the house function properly, so that the husband doesn't have to really worry about things. I grew up in the South, so I'm kind of traditional, and
Yeah.
he's traditional as well. So it kind of worked out. But I just kind of always looked at it like a job, and I think even though he did really, really well, I just never really emphasized that as like this big thing, as opposed to like when we got home, it was family time. You play with the kids, you see the kids, we eat dinner, watch TV, we go to bed.
I like normal family at the end.
Yeah. And then, once he stopped, because on Sundays, he played football. Now on Sundays, we go to church. That's how I was raised. Yeah. So
There
our
is
faith is
always
important.
something to do.
It's always something to do.
And because as a fan, we always think that professional athletes are different, they have a different life, but at the end of the day, when you go through your life, it's at the end it's the same life. The only thing is, when I go to work, no one record me, no one talk about what I do at work except my colleague. For Richmond, of course, we are still talking about how he did in his career, so that's the little difference.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, in family, is the same. You have to do your job in the house. And speaking about job in the house, was Richmond as disciplined at home as he was on the field?
I think so. You know what? Richmond is very consistent, right? Very consistent person. And so he likes things to be like normal, I guess is the word I would use. But yeah, I think he's consistent. Well, you know what? I'll take that back. Now, I was surprised when I think our youngest, no, it was our oldest daughter, played soccer. And he said something. I don't remember the exact words, but I was talking to a couple of the other parents, and I was like, "Oh, I guess he really is competitive, right?" And so they were like, "Don't you know who you're married to?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I do, but I guess I just, like I said, I never looked at it more than it being that was his profession. More, you know what I'm saying?" So,
Yeah.
but he is consistent. He would tell the girls, whatever you do, give it 100%. Don't, waste people's time. If you're listen to your coaches, because one track, one played basketball.
Yeah.
So
But
he took his life experiences and taught his
yeah,
girls.
actually, but we do the same. I mean, I sometimes when I talk to my kids, I say, listen, I'm not talking to my colleagues. I'm not at work. I'm saying the same kind of thing, always to getting better, to try to improve day in day out. And I'm like, oh, but
Yeah,
that's it. And
that's
for
it.
you
And
on
what about?
some, yeah,
Go ahead.
please.
I
No,
was
no,
gonna
go
tell
ahead.
you, the youngest one time said, she said, "I know Dad is always telling me," the one that played basketball, always telling me these things, and she said, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know how it is out here. And I said, he kind of does. Right? I said, you should go look your daddy up one day, and then you'll understand. He kind of does know what he's talking about.
That's good.
And she's the youngest. She was only like 6 months, I think, when he was injured in 2002. So she
Yeah.
doesn't know any of that. Yeah.
He was playing with the Bengals, right?
With the
That time.
Bengals, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she,
And
she grew up, he was at home, I mean, he worked too,
so
but afterwards, but
yeah,
he was kind of around for her.
so she was not stressful about Sundays. Oh, did Dan Marino get hurt? It's that fault or not? Not that
No,
kind of
she
thing. Yeah,
wasn't.
it's cool. At the end, it's cool. But for you on Sundays, do you have some stress moments? You was on stadium or on TV watching Richmond playing. What was your I mean routine during those Sundays?
No, I don't think I was stressed. I think you pray first, right? We trust God. And so we pray, we ask God to protect and keep him and keep all the other players, because nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. And but the routine was normal. It was like we just going to the game. you know, you go to the game,
Yeah.
you watch the game, if they have something that you want to eat that day, you go get that. And then, you know, then where are we going to eat after the game is over?
Yeah. I mean,
It's I'll tell you, it's really super normal, right?
yeah, but
You know?
that's what I found funny and fascinating, because I mean, we always envision that the life could be different. I mean, it's a sport that people can get hurt. I mean, we saw two 1 week ago, but
Yeah.
I always imagine that every time you have a play, you're not really focused on the game, but more on Richmond, for example, for you. But at the end, like you said, it's just a game. It's his work, and this is it. And you pray for him, of course. But at the end, it's I mean, you will not be a better family or a worse family depending of his result, right? The family staying the
Right.
same even with result or not, right?
Right. Right. And Richmond's the kind of person that, you'll hear the word said of him a lot, that he's humble, right?
Yeah,
He's very humble. And so he didn't put at the house, it wasn't that it seemed like it was more important than if the kid needed some help with some work or something. It wasn't like that. It's just more of, like I said, that was his job. But then, of course, afterwards, when you go play on Sunday, then you go get your massage or something so that you can get your muscles right. you know. So we just kind of like always maintained it normal. You know.
yeah,
Um, I always, even with the girls, just we wanted life to appear like normal to them. Not Richmond never goes anywhere and people. He has an entourage. It's just me and him. And so it makes it appear it's normal, like I tell people he drives a Ford 150. I mean, he's just a normal person who did extraordinarily well in
yeah.
his craft, right?
Yeah, because for someone with so much humble, you're talking about someone who have made 7 consecutive Pro Bowl, 4 consecutive All Pro. He's part of the 90s All-Deccan team. He was the highest paid tackle in his era when he was playing. He has the record of consecutive game, 118. He's a legend of the Miami Dolphins. He's a legend of the sport. And when you talk with him, it's like I'm talking with my uncle. It's normal, it's
It's
like
normal, yeah. And I even had to
sometimes,
go look up some of those stats. I
yeah,
didn't know all of that stuff, because you just don't really think about that.
right. It's. I mean, I prefer that kind of person, that the person who's really have the shoulders, and because, like I said, always, you guys just play with a ball. You don't change the life of people. I mean, so we have to have a balance sometimes, to when someone is saying, "Oh, I was the best. I'm the best in this planet Earth." Go relax, man. You do not change the life on anybody. You don't cure any disease in this life. But I have respect for what you did, because you dedicate your life, and sports is very competitive, especially football, because it's the best athletes on what they do. So big respect for that, and don't try to downgrade. But I prefer people like Richmond, very humble, very accessible, because it gives us the chance to understand what they're doing. That's how I understand now the journey, because I was able to talk with people like Richmond. But for the funny part,
Oh,
what's something about Richmond that people don't know? Just to have something funny, or not, maybe something
let's
fascinating.
see. I think, well, I know people don't know this. So, I told you how our faith is very important to us. He reads his Bible every day, every morning. He reads the Bible. He always encourages his friends. I love that. people call him and just, you know, get advice. Or I do love this too. He always reminds his friends of either his Valentine's Day or anniversary, something like that. So, you know, his friends, you know, stay good with their wives. um, and I always tell them, I say, listen, the best thing you ever did was accept my family because they're a little crazy. But no, he serves in church every Sunday. Like, people don't know that kind of stuff. But I think more importantly that I appreciate is that he's a praying man and that he reads his Bible every day, for sure. That people, I don't think, would know that.
So now we know.
Now you know.
And you know, I am pretty sure you saw that on social media. We create a group to support Richmond Webb for the Hall of Fame. I will try to mention everybody, because the more the months goes, the more people are getting in this group to try to do the best for him. So there is Ali Dolfriki, Ashley, Lisa, Miss Fins, Bob, and Reason, who has a podcast with Richmond. You have Key Sims, his partner with the Miami Dolphins when he was playing. He's very, he's pushing a lot, and me also in this group. And we are trying to do the best to make him elective for, even if we can affect election. It's not in our hands. The only thing that we can do is create awareness, create a momentum, and push it, and pray that pro football voters will take a look at his career, because I think it's just about taking a look again, because there is maybe new voters that don't really see him play, because to be elected in the all-decade team, you have to be elected by pro football voters. So back in that time, they saw him for a decade, one of the 4 best tackle during a decade. So it means that, and I read a lot of articles that everyone was talking about Hall of Fame career, Hall of Fame player. So he has all the credentials to be there. So how do you feel about Richmond being mentioned as a Hall of Fame candidate? And we are 3 left, so it's time to hurry up.
Okay. I want to say, first of all, thank y'all for everything y'all are doing for him. You know, to bring the awareness about, you know, him and his career and stuff. So I really, really appreciate that. And what you asked me, I just forgot just that quick.
What?
What did you ask me? I forgot just that quick.
No, it was just, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about all him to be elected?
I just think it's awesome. And I really think it's, you know, it's humbling in a way, like that people really want to do something nice for you. About to bring me to tears, so hold on. I mean, he's such a nice, I was gonna say sweet person, but he is a sweet person, and he worked really hard for the 13 years that he was in the league. And so just even to be mentioned with all of the other great people that have gone before him, I think it's just an honor, right? That's how I really feel. I'm kind of, you know, just everything that y'all are doing for him, I'm kind of like, wow, I didn't even know some of the stuff in the beginning. So just to, you know, I'm starting to really like tell, you know, like he told me I need to kind of calm it down a little bit, but you know, I'm gonna need y'all to vote for him. I need y'all to vote for him.
We all vote for him.
So yeah, I just think it's really cool that y'all are doing that for him. And he is really, I think, floored a little bit that y'all did all that for him, especially when he went down there a couple of weeks ago. So I just thank you again, and prayerfully in February we'll hear his name called.
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing with the sharing we did today, it's we understand that you guys live as a normal family, and all the love you receive it's of the love you receive, because you have the entire Miami Dolphins loving Richmond Webb, of course, and all the love you receive. It's amazing, because we are
Yeah.
not we are never prepared for that. But I will say this to the entire Miami Dolphins community: it's time to be all together. It's time for all the players who play with Richmond calling my brother to stand up for him, because if and I said it very clearly, if he's not electing during the last 3 years of his modern era, we will not be there anymore to celebrate him, because there is 180 player, 180 player in the backlog. The backlog
Wow.
is the senior group, and you almost have, in the best case scenario with the new rules, one player elected by every year. So it took 180 years to elect the players who are already in the senior group. So for me, it's a travesty if Richmond, with his resume, going to the senior group and and not being linked into his era, his modern era. So
Yeah.
I beg the organization, the Miami Dolphin organization, player, I beg Dan Marino, he protect you during your 10 years. You can't just have 5 minutes, 2 minutes saying how great Richmond is, because your coach in college, Jackie Sherrill, tell us that you will be saying he belongs to the Hall of Fame. So any players, please record with your phone. We don't need to talk together, because I'm just a normal guy, and I understand there is, you guys talked with expert guys. I understand it, but just record with your phone, send us it. We put it on social media, and we're pushing for him, because pro football voters, and I understand it too, will not just listen fans, because if they listen fans, every player in every team will be elected, because all the fans pushing for their player. But to players that they all respect, it's good to listen this. So I am thankful for the testimonial we received with Keith Sims, Kim Bocamper, Nolan Harrison, who was an opponent. So it's great to hear from an opponent, Bruce Smith, for example. But we need so much more, because Richmond, it's not he deserves it, he belongs as a Hall of Fame, and he has to make the final this year. And I dedicate my next 3 years to that. That's a promise that I did to Richmond, and I always go 100% of what I promise. But alone, we can do it. We need everyone. With
Yeah.
the story you share, I mean, I even more fire up, because he is a great player. He's a great human being, a great
Mhm.
father, a great husband, a great friend, because
He is a great
you tell us
friend.
today he's a great friend, and he's a great person, because for all the fun, we not it's not usual that a legend going this. It's not usual a legend going friend to friend with, again, normal people, little people, like I like to say. So just to have a final great word. How do you describe? It's the final touch. How do you describe? If you have to describe Richmond in one word, what will it be? One word.
I would say Richmond is a very loving person. So I would say
Oh,
loving would be my word.
it. I really took it in a family perspective today. Thank you very much to share it, share everything. I don't want to take you all the day, and um, sometimes we have to remember that all the players are normal life. So every time they finish to play, they finish to practice, they need to go to their home and spend time with their family. So they maybe don't have time for a photo, for a picture, for an autograph. It's not because they don't care about you. It's because maybe they have something to do after this.
Mm.
So this is something I understand it today, and I hope everyone will understand. Chandra, I give you the final word for everyone who will watching us, listeners.
Well, I just want to tell y'all again, thank you so much for what you're doing for him. And we really appreciate it. And um, if I mean, I don't know what else I could say. I think based on everything he did professionally, like you said, he deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. And so I just praying that the Lord will move on their hearts to say yes and give him a vote to get into the Hall of Fame.
Let's give him a vote. That's the final word. Thank you, Chandra. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
And to everyone, don't forget to subscribe. Put a like if you like. Put a comment for Chandra and for anything. Be respectful. And hey, it's great to be alive. And we're looking for better days for Richmond to the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.